I, 13, have a 29-year-old stepmom after my dad cheated on my bio mom and impregnated her. He cheated because of selfish and personal reasons involving me. They now have 5 kids together, Alyviya, who's 9, Madden and Maverick, 7, Alaiya, 5, and Maxx, 4. My mom also has remarried, but I get along with my stepdad and his kid. Because of some messed up custody, I spend the school year with my dad and the summer with my mom. I mostly keep to myself, study, and just kind of drift along. My dad and his wife are fine with ignoring me, and it works out fine. They have their kids and their worries, and I'm not one of them. Anyway, a couple nights ago they told me that dad's wife's cousin had passed away and that they would be leaving to a Klosseby state. I thought they were going at least take the older ones, but no. I have to take care of 5 kids under 10. My dad hit me with the usual stupid crap about how they're my siblings and how I'm obliged to take care of them, with wife nodding stupidly along. Then, they just leave. No instructions or anything. I just gave them a refried dinner and let them watch TV until about 9, told them to go to bed, and that was it. They refused, of course. I gave up at one point. At noon, I'm exhausted and I figured that they were just late or stuck in traffic. By 6, I was feeling murderous and checked their location. They're halfway across the country at a known vacation spot. I text them and they just give a little lie and stop answering. When I threatened to call 911 for child neglect, they came back and refused to talk to me for ruining their vacation. There were some choice words exchanged, and basically I told them I wanted to move to my mom's full time. So, am I the idiot? I'm a CPS worker. You can call CPS yourself and this absolutely warrants it. There are laws that say how old a child must be before being left at home alone overnight. Trust me, you can call yourself and the CPS agency is not allowed to let them know you called. Sweetheart. This is illegal and all kinds of wrong. I am so sorry. Hey, fellow teenager here. Pretty sure in most states once you reach the age of 12 or 13, you are legally allowed to choose which family member you want to live with. You are major, not the idiot, and I'm so sorry you have to go through that. I know what it's like to be put into toxic situations and a family like that, and I heavily empathize with you. It's gonna get better one day. Holding on to that belief and taking it one day at a time is what keeps me going. Maybe it will for you too. Investing more time into your hobbies and finding the little things to be happy about. Also, compile what evidence you can and look into your areas and states' laws to see if the thing I mentioned above is true for you. Much of luck. I used to be a CPS caseworker, and the cases where kids make a report themselves are flipping heartbreaking. OP, you're obviously not the idiot, and you need to file a CPS case because you're not old enough to be the caretaker of so many children. This is basically child abandonment, and I'm even more upset that your parents went on a vacation. What the heck were they thinking? Just awful, I'm so sorry. Make sure to explain all of this to your bio mom too, because children should not have to be dealing with any of this. My dad and stepmom are going through sort of a difficult time right now, and I've been very conflicted about everything. My stepmom has been verbally abusive to me for years, and my whole family dynamic has been pretty awful. Me and my dad have virtually no relationship anymore, and on top of everything I've developed severe anxiety and depression, so everything has been really difficult. Right now my stepmom is staying with family out of state to think things over as she and my dad are deciding whether or not to get a divorce. And this has caused my dad to keep reaching out to me for advice and assistance and asking me straight up if I want him to divorce her, effectively placing the weight of this whole situation on me and expecting me to fix it. But he's not asking for advice. He's been incredibly irritable and short with me, which is confusing because when he wants my help, he's very nice and understanding and reasonable. Recently, while I was in the car with him on the way to school, he just started unloading everything onto me. I was already stressed because I had an event at school that day and I hadn't gotten much sleep that night, and I told him that I couldn't keep being his personal therapist and helping him with his marriage because I have never been married and I don't know how to help him. I also told him that I can't handle his stress and my stress at the same time, and that I've been having a really hard time keeping up with everything that's been going on recently. He didn't say anything for about 5 minutes and then got extremely upset with me, saying he was sorry for ever wasting my time and bothering me in a sarcastic tone, and at one point said that he was sorry he was such a letdown and that I was all he had and he needed me. It was such a weird position to be put in. And I really didn't know how to respond, so I didn't. The next day, he acted like nothing had happened and kept venting about his marriage problems. I told him again that I could not keep being his therapist like this, and I don't know what he expects me to say to him since I have no idea about what marriage is like. He once again got mad at me and started yelling, at which point I kind of zoned out because I can't handle people yelling. It causes panic attacks, especially if I'm already stressed out about stuff. For the past week it's been like this and I don't know what to do. He's already seeing a therapist, but he's still treating me like I'm required to be his therapist as well. I've tried asking him nicely to stop, I've gotten frustrated, and we argued and he still won't stop. I don't know how to make it any clearer that I can't keep doing this, but honestly, I just don't think he cares if I'm okay with hearing all of this stuff about his marriage. It just feels like he's using me. Not the idiot. You have articulated very well the difficulty of being his daughter, the victim of his spouse, and him trying to parentify you and play some very adult problems on your plate. It sounds like you are being a better adult than he is expressing your issues in this way. Consider reaching out to a school counselor or other mental health resources if you have any available, as dad appears to not be operating with full cognition or awareness of your own stress. Even if you don't know what's available, try a trusted teacher or adult who might be able to help you reach out further. I am sorry you have to deal with this. Ask to see his therapist with him. No therapist will applaud him for unloading his emotional burdens onto his teenage child. He should know that already, you have told him already, but clearly you are in a position in which you can't win with him. He is treating you as a peer and as a subordinate. He needs to hear it from an authority figure. That's because he is. He should be trying to shield you from all this crap, not dump it on your shoulders. You need to stop engaging. Don't argue, don't get in his face, definitely don't apologize. Remember, you haven't done anything wrong. When he kicks off another rant session, say something like, "I've already told you this makes me uncomfortable. I won't discuss it any further." Then turn around and walk away. Lock yourself in your room or go sleep over at a friend's house, just get as far away from him as possible. My sister is 24 years old and moved back home a few months ago after a divorce with her husband. She has 3 kids, the oldest is 4 and the other 2 are twins, and both turned 2 in 3 months. Now ever since she has moved back there has been the expectation that I, 16, will watch them from time to time, which I have quite bluntly declined to do. My sister kept trying though, like getting up, putting her coat on, grabbing her handbag and opening the door saying she is leaving, to which I would reply something like, "When does the babysitter arrive?" Which would then spark an argument about me watching them. You get the picture. My go-to answer is no. Well, ever since something that we cannot mention happened, this has gotten even worse. She can't go out and she can't bring them to their dad in the weekends, and as such needs to watch them all the time. At first our parents were playing a more active role in taking care of them since they are working from home, but they have gotten used to not having to look after kids anymore. I mean, I don't exactly require much looking after anymore, and well, they work from home, so lack the time unless they work less. So now my parents are also telling me I need to be a better brother and uncle, and pretty much look after them now and again, no doubt due to my sister stressing everyone out. Now, I get it, I love my niece and nephews, my sister is stressed, and she is stressing my parents out, so the logical relief here is me. However, I have no clue how to take care of the twins and I don't want this to be a regular thing either. I am not their parent after all, and I want to do whatever I want. So I told her as a compromise that if she asked me well in advance I would be willing to watch my niece, who is the 4-year-old, for a few hours now and again. This did not go over well, as apparently I should be willing to spend time with all of them, and sometimes she needs someone to look after them straight away as there are no babysitters right now. I shot back by pointing out that is her problem and she chose to have kids. I did not choose to be an unpaid babysitter, and that led to another fight, so now I am refusing it altogether. So am I being an idiot here? Not the idiot. I understand your sister's point of view in needing some time without the kids. My husband has deployed while our kids were small and no family around. But that being said, forcing people to look after kids they don't want to look after is miserable for everyone. And her having children did not involve input from you, so you are under no obligation to watch them. I think she's seriously underestimating the kindness of you taking the 4-year-old. When our 3 were small, even having one gone made the workload feel instantly more manageable, not that we didn't miss the one gone. Everyone's the idiot here, and I already know this is a controversial opinion here, but my judgment is mainly based on the fact that we're in the middle of an unprecedented global event. Meaning that she most likely really can't find another sitter. Any other time I would say she is the idiot for expecting you to watch her kids. She still is the idiot for the whole packing up to leave and mentioning on the way out that she doesn't have a babysitter. That's bullcrap. Not the idiot. No one in my family as full adults will watch my twins, because even well-behaved, twins are a lot to handle. Especially as toddlers. Mine are 5, and my parents still won't take them by themselves. It's a lot to handle taking care of 3 kids 4 and younger. I get she needs a break, but so does every other parent. You manage even when you're losing it. I have an older son around your age, and he refuses to watch the younger siblings because it's just too much. And I respected that I do not push it, and sometimes he offers, so I can leave to go to the store or other essential things. I like to think I'm a good dad. My daughter, Mainan, 6-year-old, seems to think so too. Earlier this year, I defeated her in a game of Mario Kart, which coincidentally happened not long after she tripped and fell in the yard, which resulted in a small bruise. I didn't think anything of it until the director of Mainan's school summoned me for an urgent meeting the very next day. In my language, the word for beating someone in a video game is the same one as beating someone up physically. As it turns out, a teacher apparently heard that I beat Mainan, saw the bruise and assumed I hit her. When I arrived to the meeting, the director, all of Mainan's teachers, the school nurse and a social worker were there. They were like a tribunal, except they had already decided I was guilty. The whole exchange was extremely painful for me, because they would just repeatedly say, "We know you hurt Mainan, confess it and we can help you," and when I tried to clear up the situation, they'd not listen and just repeat, "You have to admit you have a problem with violence." When I suggested we just ask Mainan to clear things up, they refused because we don't want her to relive her trauma. I recorded part of the exchange because I was so insanely angry. The fact I was out of my mind with anger probably didn't help my case. Well, the police was called. I went through several interrogations by policemen and a social worker, and so did Mainan. It was a whole ordeal. I wasn't ever in danger as I was innocent, but it was a source of a lot of anxiety, and it took a lot of time. Every step of the way, I tried to shield Mainan from what was going on, and she was just confused by the attitude of her teachers and why people asked her weird questions about her dad sometimes. I used to be super involved with the school events, and I stopped doing that after the accusation. Even when picking up Mainan after school, teachers would sometimes refuse to let her go with me and demand that her mom come instead. My wife usually works at that time and can't pick her up. When they accepted to let Mainan come home with me, I still felt judged, like teachers were convinced they were sending an innocent victim in the clutches of her abuser. That kept going even after I was completely cleared. Well, I documented every step of the process, and at the end I submitted it all to the Regional Educational Authority, not sure if there's even a word for it in English, which oversees all schools in the area. I don't know what came of it as the school year is over, but I assume I was taken at least somewhat seriously. The director tried to contact me. He sent me a couple mails asking to meet to clear up a misunderstanding, and I have several missed calls from the school. It took all my willpower to not reply to him with, "You have to admit you have a problem with wrongfully accusing innocents," but I still wholeheartedly hope this guy will get fired. Am I the idiot for that? Not the idiot. The school has a duty to report, not a duty to launch their own investigation. That said, it's unlikely your attempt to get the teacher fired or to sue the school will likely go nowhere. Stop playing nice with them. If they refuse to release your child to you, call the police immediately to report your child being held against her and your will. Consult a lawyer and see what they can do for you and your daughter. I think you should answer him and only agree to meet if your school overseer is there to mediate. That way you can explain how you don't forgive him and you want there to be consequences. He had the right to call you in for abuse, but the fact that he got everyone involved in this witch hunt and refused to listen to you means he was in the wrong. If there are such severe consequences for you beating your kid in Mario Kart, then there needs to be severe consequences for falsely accusing someone for abuse and then not listening. I'm happy they took the situation seriously for the sake of the children they care for, but they need to acknowledge how damaging false accusations can be, especially when taken that far. In this case, they treated you like you were guilty when they should have remained impartial and let professionals decide whether you were guilty or not. The principal deserves whatever consequences come his way. I, 18, love cooking when I get the chance and like to make food from different places. Usually, when I make something, I cook it for the whole family. It makes me really happy to see them eating the food I've made, especially as I put a lot of work into it. My younger brother, 14, usually helps me when I cook, and it's a fun bonding activity for us. It's also worth noting that we don't cook often, and we both look forward to it. However, my stepdad has a habit of actively making fun of my hobbies, including my cooking. He has never once tried anything I've made and makes a show of making something different, usually chicken nuggets and chips. I normally just let it go as I understand that what I make might not be to his taste, but today was the final straw. I was sat in the next room over from him and my mum, and I heard my mum telling him that my brother and I were going to cook dinner tonight. He laughed and said, "Well, in that case, I'll just have a sandwich. I'm not eating that crap." It's worth mentioning that he hadn't even been told what we were cooking yet. I'm getting sick of him always doing this, and I'm considering just not cooking at all anymore because he takes all the fun out of it. Knowing how he thinks about my hobbies is really hurtful and makes me want to stop doing it altogether. I don't know if I'm just being childish and overreacting, but would I be the idiot if I refused to cook for the family tonight? Impossible altogether. Not the idiot. Your stepdad is a jerk. I don't understand why your mom isn't speaking up for you. But I wouldn't let this stop me from doing something that I enjoy, and that's a bonding activity with my sibling. You should never surrender your own fun to someone who's just mean. Go have fun cooking and ignore him. Mods, don't hate me, but your stepdad is an idiot. There's no need to be a massive idiot about your kid's interests. Especially if you've never even tried it, have no interest in trying it, and only want to crap on it. Don't have your hobbies cut short by an idiot. Just next time he says he doesn't want any, tell him you weren't making him any anyway, and you won't. Then it won't be a problem for him to worry about. That is horrible, and I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. I'm sorry your mom is not sticking up for you more. But the reality is that your stepdad that's missing out. The only thing that's important is that you get pleasure out of cooking, you get to bond with your brother, you enjoy the food you make. You do not need the approval of some grumpy old man who eats chicken nuggets.